Ladies and gentlemen, we're documenting the process for you guys to learn how to buy land, build houses, give you guys as many pieces of the puzzle that's humanly possible. We want to make sure that your success is real and true, and you're always out there compounding your success. All right, ladies and gentlemen, video number 4, we're documenting the process of buying land, building houses. I bought this one again for you guys. We did one in 2022. We're documenting another one now in 2024, step by step, how you go out, retain a lot, go in and get permits, everything involved in that process, and then everything from turning dirt to horizontal construction, which is everything you do on the ground, underground, and then vertical construction. We are on video number 4, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're still at horizontal construction, and we're getting ready today for our pre-slab inspection. This house happens to have a monolithic slab, meaning one single single pour, one slab, 2-foot deep footings. Now, we are in a mountain area. This house happens to sit up at about 7,000 feet above sea level. So at sea level, you typically have to go in and put a gravel-packed base on the bottom of everything that you're doing, so that way if there's any type of moisture that's in the soil, it doesn't heave your concrete or crack it. Or a lot of times when we do up in the Pacific Northwest in Seattle, is we land up doing stem walls, and then we run floor joists across the base of them. And then this way, when we run the floor joists, we can run all our plumbing, piping underneath there, and we don't do a monolithic slab. We just do stem walls with floor joists, and then we go vertical on that. Here, we land up doing monolithic slabs. We don't do any gravel packed bases or anything because we're so high above sea level. There's no flood zones or anything where we're building right now. And so we'll pour one single slab. Now, what the guys are doing, and one thing that we've increased the quality to, is we used to use what's called plastic chairs in the wire mesh that goes in the slabs. Now we use concrete chairs because the concrete around concrete expands and contracts better, and it doesn't have the void of the plastic chair inside the slab, reducing cracks. Now, one of the things right now that's really important to understand and know is what you need to look for on the slabs. Now, all of the perimeter walls need to be insulated all the way down to frost depth. And in every single location across the United States is different depending on their frost depth. Our frost depth out here is 14 inches, but we require to have 24-inch footings, so we go below frost depth, and we actually bring our insulation on our walls 24 inches down. And it actually lands up leaving a much more attractive finish to the footing. Sometimes you'll get what's called blowouts on the concrete where the form either breaks or the insulation breaks. And so we'll go back in, we'll backfill against this after the inspection. So when the concrete gets poured, that way the walls don't ever bow. A lot of times when you go to tract homes like D.R. Horton homes, Pulte homes, they're going in and they're doing such mass production so fast, you'll look down the length of the side of a wall and you'll see bows in the wall. And that's what it is, from a blowout that started in the foundation, and then it goes and migrates all the way up because the foundation is off, and then the framers have to come in and fix it. So one of the things that we look for is I look down the wall lines and I look to make sure that all our forms are straight. A lot of times I'll even come with a square that's like a $10 square from Home Depot or Lowe's, and I'll just go into all my corners and make sure that all of the 90-degree corners are actually sitting square, because that way we know that our framing is also going to sit square. I'll pick 3 or 4 measurements on the plans. You'll always have in your sets of plans a dimensions page that has all the dimensions of the house, every wall, the length, the width, and the depth of every single wall, the break points of every wall, meaning like if there's a bump out, where that break point is. And so I'll just pick half a dozen different points, and I'll get a long 100-foot tape measure, and I'll just check those points from one side to the other and make sure that the dimensions that are on the forms actually match what's inside the prints. And if I pick half a dozen walls and they all match up, then I know that the house is built square, the slab is right, and we can move forward with pouring the concrete. Now, the survey company always comes out and marks the corners, but you never take that for granted, because sometimes there's just one employee that doesn't use a square and the house is off. And so you land up when you frame with 2, 3, 4 inches of slab popping out of the wall or inside the wall, and the frame is hanging off the edge. That has to be fixed prior to completion of construction. So anything you can do to mitigate the small stuff in advance is always advantageous. When we're real busy, we'll go to the extent of having the survey company come back out one additional time. We'll spend about an extra $300, and we'll have them do ILR, which is called an improvement location report, and they'll certify that the corner points of all the forms are where they're supposed to be. And if they're not, they let us know. They send us back a report. It typically takes about 48 hours for them to produce it. And then we have the foundation company, the concrete guys, come in and fix those corners and then readjust to make sure that it's perfectly square. And then we can go in and we can pour the concrete to go vertical with construction. Now, right now, we're doing all our rebar. We're putting all our chairs all around the perimeter footings. The concrete guys are responsible for making sure that we're inspection ready, all the mesh is in. We don't want the wire mesh to sit right on the dirt because it does absolutely nothing. The wire mesh needs to sit in the middle of the concrete slabs. What they're doing is they're putting in concrete chairs right now. Since the slab's a 4-inch slab, the chairs are 2 inches. And so when it sits on these 2-inch chairs, it lands up with the wire sitting right in the middle of the slab. Now, the wire does nothing more than help with expansion and contraction because the wire gives the slab a little bit of elasticity. Since concrete doesn't have any elasticity in it, the wire mesh gives it a little bit of elasticity. And since you don't put control joints in a foundation like you do a driveway, a patio, or a walkway, you want to have a little tiny bit of elasticity to reduce cracking and expansion and contraction cracks through the foundation. And that helps with that process. Now, the plumbers have to come back out at this point in time as well. The concrete guys go back in, they level the foundation, they run plate compactors in, they compact the slab, then they come in and they do all of their rebar wire mesh, and then the plumbers come back in and they do what's called a wrap in box. They go through all the pipes. Any pipe that's going to hit concrete, they wrap it with insulation all the way from the bottom to the top, and then they tape it. And then if there's any adjustment in the piping, like let's say one of the pipes sticks out of the wall 2 inches, if you have it wrapped with a 2-inch wrap, all you simply do is you don't have to jackhammer concrete. You can just push that pipe. You can extend that pipe right up into the wall. So you have a little bit of versatile and flexibility to be able to get those pipes into the wall. Now, if they're completely out of the wall, then you have to jackhammer a little bit of concrete. But hence, don't be too concerned. It's all doable. It's all in a day's work. It does happen. Usually there's at least one pipe in every single house that just does not land up in the exact location that it's supposed to be. And they have to jackhammer a little bit of concrete. They move the pipe, they get a bag of Quikrete, they fill it back in, and then it's all a day in the office. So not to worry, it's nothing that has to be alarmed. Now, if you're doing post-tension slabs, we talked about this in video number 3. And if you didn't watch video number 3, then at the end of this video, I'm going to recommend starting at video number 1. But make sure you watch video number 3 when I talk about the difference between post-tension slabs and monolithic slabs and why you want to make sure that your plumbing lines on post-tension are in the exact location that they need to be in. Because with post-tension, it's loaded with rebar. You cannot cut that rebar. And if you do, there's so much tension on that, you can whip it and hurt somebody really bad. So you want to be really careful with post-tension slabs and plumbing lines. And you want to really make sure that the plumbing lines fall in exactly their location. That's why we don't do post-tension. And the caveat to post-tension is exactly that. And everybody says that it's less expensive, but it's such a pain in the ass, we just don't do it. We land up doing monolithic slabs or stem walls with floor joists. Now, let's take a look at what we installed on video number 3 with the septic tank now that it's in and the location to where the plumbing is at. Let's take a look at this. Now, if you guys remember from video number 3, there was a plumbing line that came out over here. The risers were not in yet. These are the plumbing cleanouts. And the septic tank was going in the day that we were recording that video or the day prior to that. The septic tank is now in. We lined up the septic tank with where the plumbing cleanouts are coming out. We had the septic tank company talk to the plumbers, and they coordinated together where they was going to come out and where the septic tank was going to be set so that way everybody was on the same page. A lot of this is just communication, ladies and gentlemen. So knowing that the plumbers and the septic tank company have to talk, it's really important that you guys communicate that. Now, if you're doing public sewer, all you want to do is what's called potholing. You go down, you see what the depth is of the sewer line. You do it with a pothole. You dig a hole and you see the depth of it, so that way the plumbers know the depth of their sewer lines, because the sewer lines are all gravity fed. And if the sewer line that comes out of the house is lower than the line that comes into the road, then you can't get the sewage to crawl uphill. Hence, you'll have to put in a grind station and a lift station to pump it uphill. So to prevent that and save thousands of dollars in doing so, all you have to do is pothole the sewer line, dig a hole, see what the depth is, and when you come out of the house, you start on the far end and you gravity feed it over towards the location where the sewer line is. The plumbers know this stuff, but it's important for you to know it. Will you be doing the potholing? Will you be running the sewer lines? No. But as a builder, as a homeowner that's building their home, these small little things are just little pieces of information that most people don't talk about that'll save you time, money, headache, and havoc. And so understand that you just need to know the depth of where that line's going to come out so that you can either put your septic tank in or connect to the public sewer. Now, on a septic tank, there's what's called a leach field. And on that leach field, ladies and gentlemen, it's where the gray water, the liquid waste, gets discharged, and the sediment sits in the bottom of the septic tank that I'm standing on top of now. And these right here, ladies and gentlemen, is a marker of the leach field. It's just filled with gravel, and all the gray water goes through here. And you have to have a large area to be able to do this. But the leach field is essentially in this area that's been disturbed, and this is all filled with gravel underneath the ground. You don't want to plant trees under it. You don't want to plant any vegetation. You don't want any heavy equipment, trucks, or anything going over the top of that leach field, because you don't want to crush the bleed pipes that are in there that actually leach the gray water outside of it. Now, with that said, there's still stuff that we want to take a look at. This, ladies and gentlemen, is our back patio. We want to make sure that this still gets water put on it, and a plate compactor gets placed over the top of this entire area. We have our rear footing. We're going to have to build what's called a rebar cage for that footing. What I'm looking for is I'm making sure all my plumbing pipes are wrapped. I'm making sure that the footings are all cut and that rebar is laid down wherever the inspector needs to assess it when he comes out, to make sure that we ensure that we pass inspection. Now, when we're done with this one, we're going to have a courtyard wall that comes out along the back end over here. We're going to have an area back here that we actually have a block wall and a courtyard wall on the back side. That courtyard wall will actually land up being built as a retaining wall to support the excess dirt that's coming off this hillside right back here. We want to take that into account since we have the tractors out. We want to make sure that we do the excavation and we take advantage of having the machines out here to save us money long term, so that we don't have to have them out multiple times at the end of construction, which lands up costing us more money. It'll save you guys a couple $1,000s in labor, tractor work, so forth and so on. So ladies and gentlemen, these boxes are right here where the shower pans go. This is the middle of one of the showers. We're actually going to do a recessed shower that sits down. They haven't done that yet, so the box won't land up staying crooked like that. That will end up getting lifted, leveled out. They're going to come in and frame the area of the shower, so we do a sunken in shower pan, so that when we come in and we actually build out this house, the shower pan sits low, and we have a zero clearance shower pan where you just walk straight in, and it's ADA compliant, plus it's custom, it looks sleek, and less leaks. It's unbelievable how many leaks we've gotten in shower pans over the years, just from one nail driven through the wrong side of a pan or a pan liner. So we just do the recessed shower pans, so that way when we do our tile work, it's supported by double layers of concrete. The concrete that goes in the foundation, and then we do a dry pack before we do the tile into that void area, and we put tile inside of it. So when we get to like video number 9 or 10, and we're doing the trim out and we're tiling the house, ladies and gentlemen, you'll see what I'm talking about, and I'll reference back to this video about the recessed shower pan and how we do the actual tile work. But we're looking to make sure that all these plumbing lines are wrapped all the way down, boxed, chairs are in, and that we're ready for finished inspection. Ladies and gentlemen, we're documenting the process for you guys to learn how to buy land, build houses, give you guys as many pieces of the puzzle as humanly possible. Now look, this is the second series that we've done on this, so I highly encourage you guys to not only watch this series, but go back and watch the other 24 video series of documenting the process of buying land, building houses, because what I go over today is different than what I went over 2 years ago. Not because the process is different, it's just that there's so much information. Every day, you're going to have some type of caveat or difference that's happening in the field that might be just slightly different, that you might relate to, you might encounter on your job site, and we want to make sure that your success is real and true, and you're always out there compounding your success. If you guys like this content and want to be informed about more content just like this, about documenting the process of buying land, building houses, and how to make 6 figures, doing it on every single build, then click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. At the end of this video, I'm going to recommend starting from the beginning of the series, and I'm going to put those videos right at the beginning of this series right here. So that way, for your convenience, you just click, watch, educate, and crush it in the field, buying land and building houses. Click and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Video number 5.